Hey there, YouTube. Ghost Jake here with you today. How's your day going today? My day's going good. I just got done watching The Exorcist Season 2, Episode 8 on Hulu. This is actually pretty funny. I completely spaced that The Exorcist was even on today. When I went and turned Hulu on, I was actually looking for a different show to watch, and saw in my frequently watched stuff that there was a new episode of The Exorcist. So I completely spaced it today, also, and anyway, so I thought that was kind of funny that I completely spaced one of the shows I love. Anyway, now, now let's get started with the review of The Exorcist Season 2, Episode 8. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, here we go. Now, this episode was actually pretty good. The exorcism continues on Andy, but this episode was kind of quite a bit of This episode has some backstory to it, also, because has some backstory to it, which is also good. And the character that had backstory is Mouse. Now, if you don't remember who Mouse is the girl Father Bennett was sent to go find, and was the girl Father Bennett was sent to go find, and is currently working with. Okay, now to start off. Now here's how the episode starts off. This episode starts off with Father Bennett and Mouse in the car. Mouse is currently driving because Father Bennett is injured. He has like a gash in his stomach, and if I remember correctly, he got the gash in his stomach in episode 7 when Mouse and him went to confront Maria Walters in Chicago. Now, where they're going, they're starting to head. Mouse and Father Bennett are heading west towards Seattle. We know they're going to Seattle, but I don't think they know they're going to Seattle, because I don't think Mouse and Bennett know they're going to Seattle, even though they're going to Seattle. Their goal is to find Marcus and Father Marcus and Father Thomas. And that is their goal to find, because the demon in Maria Walters gave some information to them about Thomas. If I remember correctly, I can't remember this week if I rewatched episode 7 or not. I think I might have on like Tuesday or something, but I can't. Usually, if I will rewatch episode 7, I will watch it on Thursday, the day before the new episode airs. But I can't remember if I actually did or not. But anyway, so what pretty much ends up having to happen is what ends up having to happen is they have to go. Um, Mouse, Father Bennett's injuries are too severe, and they end up having to take. Since his injuries are really severe, they end up having to take him to the hospital, which is kind of a bad thing to do because you have integration demons on your ass. But they ended up going to the hospital because Father Bennett is injured. Now we're going to Seattle with Father Mark and Father Thomas. Now, this episode, the exorcism is actually starting, but I think there's a little bit more. There's a little bit more success, but not. But to be honest, not much at all. As far as the success goes, because he's just not. He's just not fighting. He is, and Andy is completely stuck. And Andy, man, he's completely stuck in the delusion that his dead wife, who the demon is implying, is right there by his side. So he is completely in that delusional state. And so he is not willing to fight the demon whatsoever. And so, running out of options, what Marcus decides to do, he decides to go see Rose to inform her and the kids on Andy's status. Now, Andy's status, not good, and that is pretty much just how Father Marcus tells Rose. And then Father Marcus, is like, we are losing Andy. And, we're losing Andy to this, and then Father Marcus says, most standard exorcisms take weeks, sometimes months, before we can see any improvement. Excuse me. And they just don't have that much time before Andy is fully integrated, or, before he's fully integrated or fully possessed. Even though I think he is, in my opinion, I think he is fully integrated after watching this episode and on Hulu. So I'm just going to say he's fully integrated right now. So he's not willing to fight. Like I said earlier, he's not willing to fight. Now, meanwhile, we're back into the hospital. We see Father Bennett and Father Mouse. Now they are, Bennett's in the hospital, and the doctor's like, "Oh, he can't go anywhere," right? He can't go anywhere right now, and which sucks because, like I said, there's people on their ass looking for them, and they're stuck. And now here's where we get a flashback. Mouse, because I think before they went to the hospital, Mouse, Father Ben's like, "How do you know Marcus?" And now he knows. Now, during that flashback, we learned some interesting things about Mouse. One, she was a nun at whatever church Father Marcus was attending. 2, she was fascinated by the supernatural, like the demons and stuff, and the possessions and exorcisms in general. 3, Father Father Mar Father Marcus took her under his wing. 4, which happens a little later, she's kind of brave. We all know she's kind of badass, from the earlier episodes, but this is the flashback version of her because she goes and confronts a demon by herself without Marcus supervising her. Now, anyway, back at Andy's. What happened with Andy? The demon is in control. He's talking through Andy, and he's talking through Andy, and talking through Andy, and the demon pretty much reveals that Father Marcus and Mouse know each other, and then Father Thomas is confused because Marcus knows so much more about his life, and Thomas knows and learns hardly anything else about his life. I mean, Thomas knows hardly anything about Marcus's life. Sorry about that, I messed that up. Anyway, but and he says he's just an acquaintance. She was a friend. She was a friend of mine. But I think he runs a little bit deeper than that. Anyway, so they get the idea that they're going to ask one of the kids to come in and help. See if one of the kids, if Andy can see what their plan is, if Andy can see one of the kids in his possessed state or integrated state, the plan is that Andy's fight for the kids will loosen the demon's hold over him. And for a second, it looks like it's going to work. Right? But as soon as you see Andy's pop, it's like a brief second. He comes back to himself, but then he goes right back into the possessed state or integrated state, and they get Verity out of the room, and they continue with the exorcism. Like I said, and okay, now this, the demon reveals some more information about this. But yes, it reveals some more information. And it's like, oh, have you ever wondered why all the people you love, you leave, all your friends and the people you love, you just leave them. And Father Marcus is fairly frustrated, and he almost makes a mistake. He wants to go. My opinion, he almost wants to go punch the demon or do something to the demon. Anyway, then we see. I think this might have happened during the Verity scene. I can't remember because it's a small detail, but it's an important detail. Andy is giving, Thomas is giving, Thomas is giving the demon Andy some water, and then he sees Nikki, and Thomas drops the glass. But short version is, the demon grabs a shard of glass. Anyway, and conceals it. Actually, yeah, that was before Verity. My bad. I just remembered right after I said that. Anyway, now back to some of the backstory with now back to some of the backstory. Now with a mouse, how she knows Father, how Mouse and Father Marcus know each other. Like I said, they had some sort of relationship, friend, or maybe a little bit of romantic or something. Maybe a little bit of both. All right, and but not too sure. But what ends up happening is when Mouse was confronting the demon, and when Mouse was confronting the demon ends up attacking her, and she ends up getting possessed, or the demon puts part of his spirit into Mouse. So just she gets possessed, and it turns out that Mouse is like the one person Father is the one person Father Marcus could not save. Like he ended up leaving the church like a couple weeks, like during her exorcism, either because he couldn't handle it because it was someone he cared about, or he was just, I think it was that because he might have just been too emotionally involved to do the case with Mouse when she was in that possessed state, because someone else had to, do the exorcism. But I thought that priest was kind of a dick to Mouse after she got possessed. Because he's like, oh, now you know your place. He pretty much said, now you know your place, you stupid little girl. You shouldn't be so curious. You're like a bride of God or whatever. Yeah, look how that turned out. Mouse pretty much said, screw you, and became an exorcist. So, back in that priest's face. Anyway, now to the final leg of the exorcism. Now in the exorcism, and like after the demon said that stuff about Father Marcus's friends and his possible, lovers and whatnot, and they really got to him when he was about to punch the demon. Father Thomas corralled Father Marcus and took him, said, you know what, we need to do this in shifts. In your current state, you're going to make some sort of mistake. And like you go get some rest. We'll do this in shifts. And it's like as long as I can take the first shift. Marcus, kind of agreed, either out of fatigue or whatever. And then, but you could see the demon cut that piece of glass he took when Andy dropped the. Well, I'm not when Andy. When Marcus dropped the water. Not Marcus. When Thomas dropped the water. Like he was cutting the rope with the piece of glass so he could get free. Excuse me. Now, here is what happens. The kids are getting ready to leave the island because previously they're staying at the neighbor's house. And Verity all of a sudden leaves because she forgot a book she threw away that Andy and Nikki gave her. Right? And anyway, they're at the port. They just missed the boat, getting ready to leave. And Rose goes looks for Verity. And she finds Verity halfway down the road looking for going back to the neighbor's house. Now, anyway, here's where it gets really interesting. You know how I said they're sleeping? This scene was very, very interesting close to the end. Like you see Thomas and Marcus during the exorcism, right? All of a sudden, like it kind of makes you think, oh, Marcus took a little nap and he's back and they're doing the exorcism. And Marcus actually acknowledged Thomas says, oh, you're not an apprentice anymore, you're a full-blown exorcist now. And he's like, I really needed to hear that. But that is not Father Marcus. Because it shows like the real thing. Right? Now the real thing, Father Marcus is still sleeping on the couch, and Father Thomas is in like a hypnotized state. Like he mind linked with the demon again, or at least I think that's what it is, mind linking, whatever it is. He's like in a hypnotized state, like saying prayer over and over again. And then while the demon, he's gone. Okay, now, here's where it gets towards the end. All of a sudden, all the lights start going off at the harbor, right? Just start, it's like, ooh, what's going to happen? And he's always watch, a bunch of ghost shows. Oh, something's probably manifesting. And that's probably a good clue. Now, back to Verity and Rose finally make it to the neighbor's house to go get the book. Now, this ending was actually really good. But before we got to the ending, we saw Mouse leave Bennett in the hospital and start heading towards Seattle to find Marcus and Thomas. But Seattle. Anyway, after she grabs the book, she's like, why? Seems like no one's here. And then Verity finds the neighbors with their throats cut, and it turns out, remember I said how Marcus is asleep, and Thomas is in that hypnotized state? Well, the demon has Rose. And I'm not sure I say demon Andy or integrated Andy has Rose. And Rose tells Verity to run, and then Andy comes out of the shadows. And that is how episode 8 ends of The Exorcist. Okay, this is Ghost Jake signing off. Talk to you all later. Bye.